Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Aaliyah, and today I'm using Studio Ghibli as an example of how scale can change the way we view power. So let's get right into the video. When people talk about Studio Ghibli, they think comfort, cozy, pastel colors, beautiful landscapes, right? Gentle and nostalgic. And visually, that's true. But after re-watching Castle in the Sky, my favorite Ghibli movie, and watching The Secret World of Already for the first time, what stood out to me was not comfort. In fact, what stood out to me was the way that Miyazaki or Studio Ghibli views power. Now, on this channel, I've already discussed why I didn't like Studio Ghibli's version of Howl's Moving Castle, because I read the book. And you should also know that The Secret World of Already is based off a 5-book children's series called The Borrowers. So, in this video, I'm going to explain some of the musings and the thoughts I had surrounding power in Castle in the Sky versus that of power in The Secret World of Already. If you haven't watched Castle in the Sky, Lupita, I'll give you a short synopsis. Castle in the Sky follows two children, Shitsa and Patsu, who get caught up in a conflict over a floating city called Laputa. Laputa is real, it's ancient, and it's powered by this super strong crystal stone that Shita carries around. A stone that her mother gave her with one warning: never show it and never give it to anyone. Later, we come to learn that Shitsa is actually the true heir to Laputa before the descendants left Laputa, or the floating city. So, when I'm discussing Castle in the Sky, I want to talk about power on a macro scale. Power that can change the course of a country or the earth, or has the ability to destroy a country or the earth. So in the opening movie, we see two distinct groups fighting over this stone. The Dola clan, which is a group of pirates who are strictly after treasure, and then the military led by Colonel Muska. Okay, later we'll come to find out that Colonel Muska is actually also a true inheritor or heir to Laputa. Both of these groups want the stone, but they want it for different reasons. The pirates want it for money and treasure, while as Muska wants it for control. He sees it as a means to control the whole world. Because of this, Muska kidnaps Shita because he knows what the stone can do. He claims that the power of Laputa threatens peace, but at the same time, he wants to be king of Laputa and use it for his own devices. That contradiction really matters. One, it lets us know that Laputa's power is something that, again, can be devastating if it fell into the wrong hands, and that Colonel Muska is those wrong hands. Next, we see that once they kidnap Shita, the power of the stone activates the golem, right? So when the golem awakens, we see what unchecked power looks like. The golem has immense strength, and it has one goal: to protect Laputa, or the citizens of Laputa. It has the ability to destroy entire structures. And again, when Shita is threatened, it goes on a rampage. Not because it's necessarily evil, but because its only function is to protect through force. And we see at this scale right now that protection and destruction can be similar, or they can work in tandem. Laputa, just by it existing, is not a threat to anyone, right? Laputa becomes a threat when ideals or the greed of an individual is imposed upon it. On Laputa, the golems are not soldiers. They are protectors, caretakers of the life and the animals and the plants and even the graves of the people who lived there before. This is very important because it shows us that Laputa's power isn't inherently violent. It's people's intention that makes Laputa dangerous. The same way that its immense power could be used for good for the earth, it can also be used for evil. And so this brings us to the peak or the zenith of the story to show that human intention is what changes things. When Muska and Dola see the treasure of Laputa, their reactions are immense and immediate. They don't stop to ask, what is this place? Why does it exist? How does it still exist? They are not filled with wonder and awe at this anomaly, right? That is not common in everyday life, but they immediately begin to ask, how can we use this to benefit us? How can we use this power or this means of gaining power or having immense treasures for our own selfish gain? They wonder, how much is there and what else can we take? And here is where Muska's intentions are the driving force behind the dangers of Laputa. Muska wants to rule the world, not to protect it. He does not want to protect or preserve Laputa at all, but he wants to dominate. So what I got from watching Castle in the Sky for the umpteenth time was about how human intention on a macro scale can affect entire ecosystems of people and of just the land, and how we can choose to use natural resources and the power that we have for the benefit of society or for the detriment, right? That's where greed comes in, or human intention, because Laputa wasn't harming anybody. It was minding its own business. The golems were minding their own business. It was the will of the people seeking out Laputa that made it dangerous. I even remember when Patsu was talking to Shida and she was wanting, throw the stone away. Its power can't be used. But Patsu brought out something really valuable. He said that the stone is what brought us together and we're having a wonderful time. Like this power that you're so scared of doesn't have to be used for evil. You are only told that it should never be used. Probably because the descendants of Laputa saw how it could be used, or it was dangerous when they were using it, right? And they understood, based on human beings, this should not fall into the wrong hands. Throw it away as an act of protection rather than using it as a means for good, which is fair. So I think we can all, when we zoom out, understand power on a macro scale, right? Governments, armies, militia, politics, group demographics fighting against demographics. But what about when power is very subtle? When it happens on a micro scale. And that is where the secret world of already comes in. Because the power is small, but it's also uneven. All right. So the secret world of Already is based off of a 5-part children's book called The Borrower, where the characters are a mom, a dad, and their daughter, who are tiny people, right? And they take things from humans to survive. Now, in Already, power is not dramatic. There are no armies, there are no floating cities, just a house, and underneath the house, a family of borrowers. And we know, based on the movie, or if you've read the book, that there are no borrowers left, okay? And then the way they survive is by staying hidden. Early in the film, the borrowers are regarded as little thieves, taking things from the house that do not belong to them. There's even a line about how children are more savage than the adults, and likely because discovery always leads to danger. More so, some version of becoming extinct. For example, when the young boy decides that he wants to give the kitchen to the borrowers, where he uncovers their hiding spot and decides, I am going to be kind and give them a better kitchen, the kitchen that was intended for them. For him, it's an act of kindness. For them, it is like destabilization. Our safe place has been, 1, discovered. So now we'll have to move. 2, it is already dangerous to interact with human beings anyway. Now they know where we live, and even though they have gifted us something, we can't be sure that our daily lives will go unchanged, right? So now his kindness invites some kind of danger or uncertainty into their normal life where they may have preferred to stay hidden, right? He chose what he wanted to do for them. They did not get a choice. They did not get a decision. And they didn't get to refuse. They can't say, no, take it back. We don't want it. So because of the sheer size of the boy versus them, and the dynamic which the borrowers needed the things from the humans to live, right? That power imbalance, although well-intentioned, right, disrupted their lives. So again, we see in Castle in the Sky, it's power beyond our wildest imagination, right? And because it is such an immense and large power, human intention brings about greed, and civilization is at risk. Whereas in Irready, power is very small. It is understated, not directly noticed. Sometimes help becomes intrusion. We didn't ask for your help. We didn't want your help. You know, you did a kind thing from your perspective, but we would have preferred something different. And survival becomes the primary mode of living. We don't do any more than what we need to do, right? So different scales, different outcomes, different perceptions. We as humans, we love the big stories. I love the big stories. Fighting dragons, there's a castle, fire breathing, power erupting from the sky. But more so, macro power between individuals, neighbors, people on the street, right? A stranger who comes from just a middle class background versus someone who has had to fight from, let's say, below the poverty line, whatever it may be. Those type of dynamics happen every day, and we are a part of them. In both of these cases, the people who suffer the most are the people who never asked to be disrupted. They never asked for the power. They never asked for their smallness, right? They're just trying to get by. And for me, I thought that was powerful. A powerful revelation that I had while watching it. And I just wanted to know everybody else's opinion. I feel like there could be more there, that I could expound on it more, but I can't really grasp what I wanted to say truly. So I feel like this video is about the best that I can do right now. I may come back to the idea of power at scale if I watch a different movie. I'm not sure. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about Castle in the Sky. It is my favorite. Let me know what you think about The Borrowers. I felt like it could have been more robust, The Borrowers movie, but for what it was good. And I will see you guys in the next video. And just to give you a hint, I will play the outro in this video. Bye!
You are now listening to Makarosu 8299.